with Cheez-Its in hand. What is our third main topic today?
Main topic number 3 comes to us from Chaz Tappett, who says, John, been watching since the AMC days. I just finished the first episode of Tulsa King on Paramount Plus, and oh my gosh, I'm absolutely in love with it. As someone who lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I think they did an incredible job making the city just as much of a character in the show as everyone else. Although some of the characters are a bit exaggerated, it's all very close to home and they nailed pretty much everything. I'm so excited for the next episode, and I'm already counting down for next week. Did you guys get a chance to see it yet? I'm curious to hear what you and Rob thought. Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. And Taylor Sheridan is just on fire. And the stuff, I love everything that he does. I love Mayor of Kingstown. I love Yellowstone. I mean, he's just creating hit after hit. He makes them hits, Ray. Mm-hmm. He makes them hits. That's all he does. So when we saw he was making this Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone about this mobster who's been in prison for 20 years, he comes out now and he's got to establish a new family, if you will, out in Tulsa. Fascinating. Totally on board. I want to check this out. I thought the trailers were quite good, but then it wasn't really getting the response that I was expecting. If we can go over to my screen here for a second, Jonathan, and when you go over, it's only got, I mean, that's not terrible, but it's got a 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, granted, that's only with 23 reviews in, but still it was a little bit lower than I was hoping to see. So whatever. So last night, after as I was writing the show notes, I realized, oh yeah, Tulsa King's there. So I hit pause on my show note writing. I sat down and I watched Tulsa King. All right. It is not what I thought it was going to be.
Nope.
Even though there was some gags in the trailers, I still thought this was going to be like Mayor of Kingstown. It was going to be darker, hard-hitting. It was going to be violent. It was going to be all this kind of stuff, but with Stallone as a mobster, right? And it's not. It's Sheridan's first kind of attempt at doing a hybrid dramedy. Yeah, drama and comedy, right? And I was not expecting that at all. So it caught me a little bit, it was a bit jarring, if you will, to me, right? When I was sitting down and watching it. But I'll be damned, it worked for me. I was watching it and I was laughing and I was really getting into the character. I even paused at one point just to go, because Ann was watching The Crown in the other room. Just because I wanted to tell somebody. I went out and I told Ann, like, I paused it when I said, I'm watching this Sylvester Stallone thing. And it's surprisingly really good. It's totally different than what I thought it would be. And I get it. There were some people that were jarred by it negatively because they were expecting more of a Mayor of Kingstown kind of feel to it, or a Yellowstone feel to it. Totally understandable. But it was not that for me, and I dug it. And I was telling Rob this morning when I came in, you know me, I believe actors are completely interchangeable. I mean, that's the role of acting, right? That's what you're meant to do. You're meant to become a chameleon and morph into whatever that role is. But I'll tell you, after watching one episode, I don't know what they do if Stallone said no to this show. Because I cannot imagine anybody else playing this role. And I'm sure somebody else would have, and I'm sure it would have been fine. But I have a hard time imagining somebody else that could have played this role that's supposed to be this 75, and the character's supposed to be 75.
Yeah.
To be a 75-year-old, but you believe he could kick the shit out of anybody he comes across in the street. Yeah. And that's Stallone. And I personally thought he was great. I thought he was great. I thought the supporting cast was great. I love his driver. I really got into his driver a lot. I love the dude. He's in the Spider-Man movies, the guy who's the owner of the pot shop. I really like him. The people at the bar. Now, is it filled with tropes? Yes. Is it kind of on the nose in a lot of ways? Yes. And that's all valid. Those are all valid criticisms. But despite those criticisms, this show worked for me. And I'll tell you what, Rob, I'm finding myself excited about next Sunday so I can watch the next episode. You had a chance to watch Tulsa King. What did you think about it?
I think, we're talking about this earlier. I think you're right. I think what's really interesting about this show is Sylvester Stallone has many different incarnations throughout his career. He was Marion Cobretti. Crime is a disease. I'm the cure. He's Rocky. He was Rambo. He also was Oscar, and he's also in Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. He was Copland, Machine Gun Joe Viterbo in Death Race 2000. This seems to be a distillation of elements from throughout Stallone's career. There's the serious Stallone, the playful Stallone. There's the way you see him act with his daughters when they like interview him on their podcast. And there's sort of a wry sensibility in him where he's not making fun of himself. It's serious, but with the knowledge of everything that comes with being Sylvester Stallone. And the fact that it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, like our viewer said, how Tulsa's a character. Like, I love Tulsa all the way back from The Outsiders and Rumblefish. Rumblefish is one of my favorite teen movies of the 80s, and it's set in Tulsa. It's not the place you would think to send him. And the milieu and the character of Stallone and all the surrounding players all works together in this kind of frothy mix of entertainment value that I didn't expect I was going to get. And I like you, man. I'm like, when it was over, I'm like, I wish I could binge this.
I wish there was a second episode on it.
I would watch it right away because I was just, I think I've always liked Stallone. I've never not liked him. And this is kind of like watching, it's different than what Shatner did in like Boston Legal, but it's still got that. It's still, you're watching Sylvester Stallone, but it's everything you like about Sylvester Stallone wrapped into one, and he's having such a good time.
You know, one of the things this show does that I love when a show does it? I love it when movies do this too. I love it when a movie or show doesn't feel like they need to waste the first 10 minutes with, let's just set the atmosphere of this world. This show, boom, I'm in prison. I'm getting out today. I'm going to go see the crowd. 5 minutes into this show, and the show is completely off and running. I love that.
And like you said with tropes, when you go to prison, you don't rat out your crew. You don't, which he didn't do. You
got 20 years.
20 years in prison. And so we know all of this. It plays into all the tropes of gangsterism and all that we've seen in every Scorsese movie and every other movie that came out since then. So they're leaning into that as a shorthand, and it works, I think.
Anyway, guys, if you had not had a chance yet to see Tulsa King, I kind of recommend that you do. I mean, it's one of those things where you can tell it's not going to be for everybody, and that's fine. But if you guys did see Tulsa King, what did you guys think of it? We quite enjoyed it. Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. We want to take a moment and thank a sponsor of today's video, HelloFresh. Guys, my wife Ann and I love using HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. When you subscribe to HelloFresh, you can check Save Money off of your fall to-do list. HelloFresh is 25% cheaper than takeout and even less expensive than grocery shopping too. And HelloFresh works with your ever-changing schedule. Plans are flexible, and you can choose your meals for the week, update your preferences, or change your delivery day all in the HelloFresh app. Now, Ann and I are both working professionals, so when it comes to dinner time, it can be a bit of a challenge. We don't really have time to cook, and we don't want to eat out all the time. And that's why HelloFresh comes through so clutch for us. Not only do we get to eat delicious, nutritious food, but Ann and I both have a lot of fun getting to cook together, following the easy-to-follow steps in getting the meals made. So go to HelloFresh.com/Campea65 and use the code Campea65 for 65% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/Campea65 using the code Campea65 for 65% off plus free shipping.